It's no surprise that in the modern world, in our moments of leisure, it's easier to consume media than to retreat into one's own mind. I can recall a study as far back as 2013 indicating that the large majority of people would rather spend an idle moment looking at their phone than thinking to themselves. The benefits of avoiding boredom are right at our fingertips. The majority of these involve consuming rather than producing, although there is no inherent factor that causes this to be this way other than the simplicity of turning to such things and the perceived mental benefit of relaxation. If you're in a waiting room or waiting for a meeting or a class to start or expecting somebody to arrive, sitting there quietly almost seems like a foreign concept. It's easy and feels good to know that right in your hand is an object of endless entertainment. And this is not news. It's obvious that it's simple just to pick up your phone in these moments and open the news or open Reddit or open Twitter or open Facebook or open YouTube or open Tumblr or open Snapchat or open Instagram or open any one of a myriad of outlets. What these all have in common is that they are consumption of one kind or another and cause us to be passive rather than active in our thought processes. You might instead choose a game. This is more engaging, but it falls into the same bucket of consuming something that has been made for you rather than creating something new. And this is not inherently negative. These sources of media give us important news, give us information about the people around us and in our lives, give us inspiration, like from art, give us interesting notions and fantasies, like from a book, give us cool ideas of things to do, build, explore, see, visit, learn. But all of these things require a moment of thought and eventual action after the moment of consumption. If you see someone's vacation photo from when they visited Paris, you may use this to think about how you need to take a vacation and start thinking about where you'd like to go, perhaps someplace you haven't been, and you start thinking through an itinerary and a budget. And before you know it, you've got a vacation planned, and 6 months from now, you have new memories to look back at, new experiences under your belt, and you've done something with yourself. But there's something fundamentally different about the way we typically consume these types of media, and that is that they are a stream of consciousness and they are continual. Once you have seen that vacation photo from Paris, you are on instantly to the next picture, which is your friend's baby shower, and then someone's cat, and then someone complaining about politics, and so on. And all of this can happen in the space of seconds. Your brain spawns 1,000 new threads of thought, which are abruptly dropped as you move on to the next thing. And we have these ends that trail off into nothing, and soon the brain prunes them because clearly they're not important to us right now. They're not something we're thinking about anymore. We're already on to the next thing. But you might argue, in these small spaces of the day, seconds to minutes long, what else would you do? How much are you likely to accomplish in 2 minutes of waiting beyond simply entertaining yourself by watching something, reading something, looking through a feed? You're not very likely to achieve some deep, inspirational new thought. You're not likely to plan a complete vacation. And you could start some of these things, but maybe you won't even remember to come back to it later. But it's more about the approach of how we spend our downtime and getting the brain accustomed to the manner in which we spend our downtime. If you take being absorbed in your phone and a stream of continual media as the one side of the extreme and consumption, then we can say, well, what about the other side? There is certainly a focus in today's society on being productive, working hard, the hustle, the grind, doing your best work, and really making something of yourself. And that is great. But you know what? In the grand scheme of your life, in a lot of ways, it ends up being the same thing. Sure, you earn a bit more money if you use some of your otherwise downtime to earn some cash or to work on your business plan or to write a few pages of your book. These are good things, right? They're easy to justify. You're making money, you're moving your life forward, you're being productive. These are all good things. And a life where leisure time is occupied with this sits on the other side from what we were discussing before. This is the productive side, the creating rather than consuming. But both of these extremes have in common the fact that they strive, however incidentally, to occupy our moments of leisure. Leisure time spent truly not focused on any one particular thing, whether consuming or producing, is highly underrated. not only because it refreshes, restores us, not only because it reinvigorates us to be able to move on to the next thing that we want to do, but because it gives our minds space to think not in a particular direction. When our brain isn't given anything specific to do, it focuses on the background tasks. It tries to shuffle through problems that it knows we're working on, try to find solutions to them. It tries to think about the social interactions we have had and are likely to have, the people we know and the way we interact with them. And so leisure time doesn't just make us feel better, it makes us work better. Some people even take advantage of this in a very calculated way. If they feel stuck on a problem, they'll just take a walk, go do some yoga, grab coffee. And because it's the last thing they were thinking about, and it's weighing on their mind, the gray matter in the back of their head is going to be plugging away at this, and when they come back, they often find that they have a solution. And it doesn't even always need to be this directed. Some amazing ideas have come about because people's minds have wandered. It may sound like a waste of time, but if you don't have a goal in mind, it opens up a floodgate of possibilities. You may never realize, in the sense of actualize, many or most of these, but you cannot direct your brain to think of something or to do something that it isn't aware of. But you can get there by harnessing your subconscious. You could draw a corollary here to universities, which operate socially in the same way that this downtime does for your mind. A university hires people to do research and investigations and to think in ways that are not necessarily immediately gratifying or immediately fiscally beneficial. It varies from area to area. An engineering professor may create something that has high applicability in the near future, and often a department such as that will get a higher amount of funding for those reasons. But a professor of mathematics working on an extremely abstract problem that seems unrelated to anything being solved in the real world, or a philosophy professor theorizing about the nature of humanity in a scope that seems well outside the day-to-day world. These people are still funded because not only is there value in expanding the human conceptual space of knowledge in and of itself, but because we recognize at an institutional and at a social level that there is so much out there that we will only access if we're allowed to explore without a particular end in mind. And just as we need both businesses that hire people to build something in the here and now, and also have universities that pave the way to the future in the abstract, we need both of these in our own heads to maximize our own potential and to live a good life. You can't ignore the practical, the fact that you're going to have moments of boredom that need filling, or need money and want to put your time to good use to earn it, or want to spend a lot of your time really focusing on this business plan that you've got. But it behooves us to pull back when we can from these physiological urges to occupy our time, whether that's occupying it with the next episode of the show you're currently binging, or occupying it with one more paid survey you're filling out. Give yourself time to let your brain do its thing. Don't expect magic results from every single time you relax, but learn to enjoy relaxing without an agenda. Disengage from both the media that call to us and the work that seems so pressing. Let your leisure time be time for your brain. Many people are hopeful that the trend of diminishing work hours and diminishing work weeks will leave people feeling more contented, more relaxed, more secure in their own lives, and with the ability to really live. But many ask, if we achieve this goal, what will people do with themselves? Well, ideally this. People will be able to learn, to think, to explore, to work on the things that really matter to them, and to find new avenues of innovation that never would have cropped up without the ability to take a step back, relax, and let the leisure of the mind do its thing.